Very important. So your red book, your red folder, if you will open that up. What I really encourage, we talked about how can we pray for our kids, how can we pray for our program. What I encourage is this, the very front page has the vision. If you were to take that and you were to incorporate that in your prayer and just ask the Lord and the Holy Spirit to just help you, equip you to be creative and in His strength, ask God, how am I going to show the beauty of Jesus today? Like, I have babies, and so how am I going to do that? And then think about, the children and their families, and maybe that is like, who said to go on the city and send encouragement? Was that you, Stephanie? Man, isn't it nice to hear a good thing about, like, your example was a positive thing, not that they bit somebody or that they, whatever, but that they did something good. But just think about the families that you're serving. And when we talk about know, love, and serve, and that's on the back of our shirts, praying about, Lord, what do you want me today, what do you want them to know about you today? You've already studied your curriculum. You've already been working with that through the week so that God can work on you. And I think that's why I love to teach, because I'm the one who needs to learn. And so when I prepare to teach, then I'm the one that's blessed. But if you can just, even the day of, Lord, what do you want them to know about you today? How can I show that love? And who can I serve today? Sometimes it's as easy as a mom or a dad is exhausted. And I love that we have men in here. Dads are under-encouraged. It's true. I mean, dads, need encouragement. I feel like you guys need to reach out even more, because females tend to be more nurturing by nature. I'm not trying to put any gender in a box here. I know that men can be nurturing, and I get all that. But I do think that it's important for the teachers that are men to encourage the dads. And this is the first church I've been a part of where there's so many men in the children's program. I just was blown away by that. There are so many men in there, and I love it. I love it so much. It's so important. And I fell in love with Matt. He's now in my parish, and I've gotten to know him, but I didn't even know his name, but he would have kids just all over him, and he'd be walking around with this kids hanging off, and I was like, I love that. And because I can't wrestle with them. And Matt did a great job. I'm going to turn off my phone. I can hear it beeping. And so anyway, I just love that about Matt. So, but spend some time just on page 1 in your prayer time and in your preparation, and you will be blessed. What it'll do is it'll give life, and it'll give energy, and it'll give the spirit into what your service is. We can get so caught up on my job, or this is how I serve my church, or this is what I do, and we can get so stuck on that we forget the big picture. And so if you'll spend time in your quiet time, even just with the vision statement, I promise it's gonna produce a wonderful thing in your heart. And then that's gonna come out to the families and the kids. All right, I'm not going to read this to you. I mean, that is not an effective way to teach, and I know that and you know that, but I am gonna hit some highlights. But just because I may not hit something doesn't mean it's important. So what I want you to do is give me a thumbs up. Everybody gets to do a thumbs up, one at a time, but that you really are going to take this and read it. I need to know that you're going to take it and read it. I mean, what would it take? 15 minutes? You might even get a highlighter or something. You might get more than one color highlighter. That's what I was thinking. I really need your commitment that you're going to read it. So we're going to go around, and since this table's kind of quiet, I'm going to start with you. So you got to show me your thumbs up. You're going to read that thing right there. We're going to do. I just realized I'm being videotaped, and that's just going to all my. Hello, awkward camera. I don't do well with being videotaped, but I'll just try to forget that it's there. All right. The philosophy of ministry. I love the Deuteronomy 6 verse because it says that we're going to teach them. It's really in the context of parents. This is really the call to parents, but it's also the call for teachers. So we're going to teach them diligently. And we're going to, when we're doing everything, when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise. And what's great about that is I've noticed with the younger, because my first experience teaching Sunday school was with elementary age kids, and so there really was a lesson time where everybody sat down and listened. That does not always happen in 2-year. So it's often when they're running, and when they're sitting, and when they're playing, and when they're eating. I have found that snacks are a great way to get kids to get quiet. You just stick one of those animal crackers in their mouth, and all of a sudden you can teach, because everybody gets quiet when they have something in their mouth. It would probably work with older kids too. But we know that the parents are the primary influence, and I'm at the bottom of page 3. Bottom of page 3. So the parents are the primary influence in the lives of their children, and so we want to aid them. What you might want to do is you might want to ask a parent if there's something specific that you can pray for them, for mom or dad. Always pray for protection from the enemy. Always pray for the protection of the marriages in the church. And but ask them, hey, especially like if you notice that the kid is struggling, that's a great way to just say, how's it going? Or you can look at them usually and tell if they're beat down, and ask, how can I pray? Or even just making eye contact is encouragement, and just saying, how y'all doing? Just anything simple like that. I tend to get real task oriented, and so I forget how important it is to be relational. And the reason I know that about myself is my daughter, who's now 18 and about to be a mom, when she was 4, I was bathing her, and she said that she thought our family was a lot like Winnie the Pooh. And she'd been thinking about that. She was a thinker at age 4. She thinks more at 4 than I think now, as what my age is. And I said, we're like Winnie the Pooh? And she said, yes. And she proceeded to tell me, she said, I am like Tigger, which is true. And she said her daddy was like Pooh, and her younger sister was Piglet. And she said, Mom, you're Rabbit. You know, the grouchy one with the... She's always saying they're going to be late or something. I don't know. But I can forget to be relational. So and especially if we're trying to match up name tags. We're trying to get the procedures. We've been to training. Everybody knows you need to match up your stuff, and you need to put it on the table, or the MOD's going to come find you. You know, all that stuff. Just, bless you, stop and try to make eye contact. Because the parents are, and some of you are parents, and you know how tired you are. Don't underestimate encouragement to parents. All right, let's go to 4 and talk about the application process. Is there someone here who does not have an application on file? If you don't know, you probably don't have one. Do we have a list of people who
I do. I don't have it with me right now.
So everyone needs to have an application on file. And so, you know, the church is obviously under attack. We need to be careful. We need to have paperwork. We need to do our due diligence. And so everybody here needs to have an application on file. Is there anybody who knows right now sitting here you don't have one? I'm not sure I have one.
Okay.
You don't? Okay. So we'll get it to you.
Yeah, I'll email it on the city.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And from the city you can like print stuff out and stuff? That's good. I didn't know that. I did send a message to somebody on the city, but he didn't get it, so I probably did it wrong. I attempted. That actually, the city, did I say the message? The city was my first social media experience. Now I have a Facebook. It's big, it's huge. All right, application. You do need to be a member of the church. And I remember, and it says in bold that special permission, you know, can be granted only by the children's ministry team. I mean, there's reasons why membership is important, and I'm not going to go into that, but I think everyone here is a member. If you're not, you'll want to be, and if you're not, we need to meet with you. Policies and procedures, to know them and to review them. So if I made you do a thumbs up that you're going to read it, that's great, but now and again you might need to look over it, because I forget. We need to do a criminal check on you.
I do have
that's
those.
Really important, and we have them today.
If you need one.
So if you right now need a criminal history check, you know that we have not done a background check on you, will you let us know? Does that scare you? You had a scary, like that was worried. You're not worried about it. Are you a criminal? And we need to worry about you. He's like, I don't think so. No. If you'll raise your hand, if you haven't filled out a background check, we're going to pass out that form, so you can do that.
Mariana, I think I have one on you from a long time ago.
We did find some.
Have you had any criminal activities since then?
See, that's the trick.
Have you been a criminal since then?
We might need to do those annually for some of us. For me. All right. Interview. It says that we need to be willing to submit to an interview by the leadership team. It doesn't say you have to have an interview, but you need to be willing to be interviewed. And then obviously if there are issues in love, I've not seen C3 do anything that wasn't in love and full of the gospel, but if there's a problem, you may need to step down for a while, and that's okay too. The training is required, and so why am I telling you? You're all here. But it is required. It is important, and really we just wanted to make sure that you understood the high calling of this position and this responsibility. There's a very high calling to children's ministry, and so the training is required for that purpose, to make sure that we are all on the same page and that we're doing the best that we can do. So procedures make it easy to function. So
And
that's
thank y'all
why
for
we're
being here, because the people that can't be here, we have to meet with them individually and go over all of this. So that's just a very big blessing for the ministry team.
It is.
That you took the time to do this, because if we're following our procedures, we have to meet with every single one of those people, make appointments, take time out of our schedules to do that. So thank y'all for coming.
Is there a sign-in sheet for today so we know who's
I know, yeah, I have it.
You have
I have it
here?
on a list, yeah.
Okay. And the people who couldn't come, we'll meet with them, but they don't get donuts.
Nope.
No pretty bananas, none of that. No. We'll do something for them. Okay. The leadership structure, I've already introduced our team. I'm going to, our names are here and what we do. Flip over to page 6. We've mentioned Cody. Like, I think everybody here knows Cody. But do you know what I thought about when Stephanie was talking? Is there anybody here who, besides me, who doesn't know everybody in the room? Like, I didn't have you guys introduce yourselves. So, start with, let's have your name. Just tell us who you are. Alex. I know who you are, I just didn't know your first name, but welcome. We're glad you're here. So what are you going to be doing for children's ministry?
I'm going to volunteer to help take full time to area to my.
Okay, well, the reason that's fantastic is because the kids are going to love you. That's going to be awesome. Thank you for giving up your time and making yourself available. Young person, like, I love to see that. I bet you're still serving when you're my age. I bet so. So, and we just spoke that your first name is Paul. Okay, and I apologize. I'm still trying to learn names. So if you've told me your name before and I don't remember, I apologize. Paul. And then Mary. I love Mary because I was serving in children's ministry and she brought breakfast. Like pancakes one Sunday. I'm like, this is awesome. I had eaten breakfast probably because I overslept. She comes in with food and I'm a foodie, so I like food. So thank you. But you've served forever and ever and ever because y'all are brother, sister, and you're missionary kids.
That's right.
So
I love kids.
you love kids and you have pancakes. I don't know what was better. Loving kids and pancakes is all you need to do.
You're one of the best guys people.
Everyone. I'm going to go on through. Cody is our elder. He is the one that is in charge of this leadership team, and so he keeps us on task. He does a really good job. Often our meetings are on Sundays, and so he's just fabulous, and he does it with humor and with lots of love. So the difference between a master teacher and a helper is pretty obvious, but I do know that I heard once this morning to be sure you're prepared. It helps if you just even read through it, like on Monday, just so that it has time to steep, like a tea bag, and so that all week long you've just read through it. I don't mean like hardcore study or anything on day one, but just read through it. But being prepared is a lot of it. And then God's going to work through you, but we do need to do the work, and we want to make it a priority. And like I said before, the reason I enjoy teaching is because I need to learn it. So that's how I grew a lot in my faith, is just by agreeing to teach Sunday school. And so it's kind of ironic. The kid who didn't go to Sunday school, who would spend the night to go to Sunday school, ended up being a Sunday school teacher, and I think that's so God, isn't it? I mean, I was scared to death the first day I taught Sunday school, but And I was a teacher even. I was just so, because I knew it was a high calling and I just felt so unworthy. But arriving 20 minutes prior to your event is important. And like they said, we really, the idea of pulling us together for prayer and just making sure everything is set up so that things go seamlessly. What you want to do is this. So picture the deck is on the water and it's just real smooth. And I love it when the water's like calm and the duck is swimming and there's that like, triangular kind of pattern that goes out, real soft like. But underneath, it's crazy what goes on with the duck feet. So that's kind of how it needs to be on Sunday morning. It's like we need to look smooth and we need to know that we've got everything done. And even though underneath we're all just going like this, but you kind of want to earn the trust of your parents. And so when they come in and they see you frazzled, then I think it makes them a little uneasy about some. It wouldn't have me, but some people get uneasy when they think, oh, they're a little frazzled. I'd be like, yeah, because they teach Sunday school and it's a lot of work. But we kind of want to, getting there early just ensures that everything is peaceful. And I think that's really important. So Heather mentioned the importance of the first hour are the setup people and the second hour are the takedown. Other than the walls, we're responsible for everything. And I love that there's an MOD bucket. Anything not in your bucket, the MOD has the supplies to replenish your bucket. Are there checklists and all that on those bins?
We didn't do the checklist, but we just have there've been spells out what is in there and what should be used for.
And where is that? Like the bin?
So they'll take your lids off.
Lids off the bin.
Yeah, it's laminated and taped.
That's what I meant. That's what's there.
But it's not like a checklist.
No. But there is a piece of paper that's laminated and taped that tells you what's in your bin.
Yeah, and really the only thing that Stephanie would have that you would run out of would be we have a cleaner for the toys, and then there's a cleaner for the floor mats and stuff, and paper towels or wipes or something for the babies, or even the toddlers. They have wipes too, and antibacterial hand wash. So it's all cleaning supplies type of stuff. But we just wanted to equip each room to function independently, so that we weren't just chaotically looking for stuff throughout all these bins. Because every Sunday things would get put in the wrong ones.
I just was not real sure where to put it.
Yeah, so your stuff goes with you. It goes to your room. It stays in that room the whole time that you've got your kids. It stores underneath the table, so there shouldn't be any commingling. Things shouldn't get confused. It should be very easy and function really well. And if you're short, then you just ask Stephanie, and she has in her bin all the stuff to replenish what you could potentially run out of.
And did you say that list was on the underside of the
On the
bin?
underside, you
Well,
pop
see, that
it
makes
off,
sense, so
and
it
it's
doesn't
right
get knocked off every week. On the underside. Okay, good.
And then the outside labeled, now we used to have little, it was just duct tape that was written on the side. So we did sort of a color code, and for toddlers, gosh, I think I picked green or something. But
Is
it
that for
has
letters?
babies in bold, toddlers in bold, so there's no missing.
I need that.
Yeah.
I need big words and colors.
There's no missing bins. And I think each for each classroom we've assigned, babies were still, did we ever get them?
I think we just have one for babies right now.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be working, but each classroom has 2 bins.
2 bins.
Except for the babies.
And the people, what is the group called that create and restore? That's it.
Yeah.
They bring the bins and the walls, but we do everything else. Okay, that's really good. All right, absences. So you're supposed to find a substitute, and since you're the only sub, I imagine that you're going to get bombarded at the end of this meeting. But you're responsible. You have a sheet. I love the idea of taking a picture of that substitute list. I think that's brilliant. That was your idea. Way to go. Because you want it handy if you get sick on a Saturday or whatever. Or if you know you're going out of town, here's another thing. Don't wait till the week you go out of town. If you know in a month you're going to be gone, start now trying to get it covered. That's what Kristen did. Yes, ma'am.
Do we, for the team who won't be here for 3 weeks, do we need to find subs?
Oh.
Or does Heather just go to schedule?
Heather's going to fill in for everybody who's gone on a mission trip. Did you account for that?
No, not yet.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. That's excellent. And, by the way, that is the first question I've had all day. That's exciting. Somebody is thinking, and I know you're all with me. I know you are, but think of some more questions because it makes me feel like,
You're how many out of this group is going to be gone on that mission trip?
How many in this group?
Those 4 over there.
This whole table? you contact, you're to leave a message, your name, your time. People always forget to leave their name on it because you assume that you know, that they know that you're calling them. Well, with caller ID and cell phones we do, but if you leave a message saying, this is Jessica and I am sick, your name, the time, and when you're supposed to work. I'm supposed to be toddler second service, and the reason for my absence is that I'm sick or whatever, but does everyone in this room right now have Heather programmed in your phone? We all have phones here. This would be a good time to put Heather's name in your phone because she's the one you contact. So, and please, please, please do that as soon as possible. Go ahead and
Go to the sub list first, though, before you call me.
Yeah, because that's what she.
Oh, you want them to call and get their sub before they let you know?
Even if you're sick, and I'm like actually like you can text them like just try to get a sub before contacting one of us.
Yeah,
It's like sub list, someone like Stephanie or Heather, and then maybe go to the city or something.
Yeah.
But sub list first.
Yes, sub list first. And you could just real quick send a text and say, I'm working on sub and I have the measles or whatever. And then they know that you're not going to be there. Okay, well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on check-in and check-out procedures because that's already been covered. The main thing that you need to know is that the younger kids do have the tags, and we need to be careful about that. So children beyond 5th grade are not required to use the computer system. And what is our current procedure for older kids? Is it just like
K through 5th still check in, but you don't have to have, the parents don't have to have a tag to pick them up.
they do go to the
Upstairs.
kiosk? They do go to the check-in desk?
Yes, they still check in.
Okay, they just don't get a name tag.
They'll have a name tag, but a lot of times the teachers will bring them down.
Yes.
So it's a little more difficult since we're split up halfway. Yeah.
So when it says children beyond the 5th grade, oh, that's junior high. Yeah. Okay, I got it. All right. Any questions on the check-in system? Okay. So I like this comment down here. If there's a problem, it's in bold, with a child or heavy or consistent crying for 10 minutes, we'll go ahead and contact the parent, either by text or in person. So 10 minutes is probably the longest we want to have them in a hysteric kind of cry. And we'll go get a parent. I think that's the best thing now. All right, releasing of children is important because right now we're small and I think we do know each other and we do know the kids, but we're right now trying to train you and prepare for when we're larger and we don't know everybody. So we've already talked about how the parent or guardian needs to show the security card before we release. So, and K to 5, they need to be picked up. It sounds like the teachers kind of bring them downstairs and kind of have them in a holding place, and then the parent needs to come and pick up. And the issue has always been and always will be that most people in this room that have kids are serving. So they're the last ones to get picked up, and that's just the way it is. Abuse tolerance is 0 tolerance, and we know that this is an issue. This is why we do have an application on file. This is why we do background checks. This is why we interview and get to know you. But also, what you see, you must tell Heather or the MOD if you see any neglect or anything that makes you uncomfortable. If it tugs on you at all, say something to somebody. And so reporting this inappropriate behavior, you do need to let the leadership know, and we will direct it from there. So I'm hoping that never happens, and I'm not anticipating that it will, but we do need to be prepared. So there's some basic things on page 9 about diapering and toilet training, and these things are important that you know. A lot of you said you help with toddlers. They start to go to the bathroom on their own by then. I have a sister, and then I have two little girls. So when I got to 2 and 3-year-olds, I needed training on this whole issue here because girls and boys are different. You just need to know. But let's go over diapering. Only female nursery workers or the parent is going to do the diapering of either sex. Changing diapers should only be done in the plain sight with other nurses. That's why we have 2 teachers in every room. Children should never be left attended on those changing tables. That's something basic, but we need to say it. Special instruction Children should be re-diapered, reclothed immediately upon changing their soiled diaper. So you just, they can have naked time at home, but apparently not at church. So we'll just get those clothes right back on and be done with that. So toilet training, we're not going to force them to do that. It's got to be same gender or the parent legal guardian going to the bathroom. The door needs to be left partially open. They're not going to be left unattended in the bathroom. If the young one will say they want the door closed, you're just like the door to the actual stall. It's okay to stand just right there. Sometimes I've seen that with kids. It's like I just need a little privacy. Parents should be consulted on their progress in the toilet training area. I, as a mom, always wanted to know if they went number 2. My grandma used to keep charts of all of us cousins, But I like to tell them because if you have moms just need to know if they go to the bathroom. So you might just want to mention they went to the bathroom and they went number 2. Children should be assisted in straightening their clothes. Accidents should be handled reassuring the child by completing it, changing their diapers or underwear. My question is, do we have extra? Like sometimes the parent brings a bag and there's clothes in there, but we have extra diapers on hand. Do we have any extra clothes? So if mom and dad don't think to put an extra outfit, we may not have any other clothes to put on them. Okay, well, that'll be all right. If they're still in diapers, they should not be taken to the restroom unless the parent asks. Wow, that can be really time consuming if you have to take them all to the bathroom. So, good news is school-age children probably know how to go to the bathroom. So that's good news. That's good news on page 10.
Can I say something?
Yes.
We didn't really put an emphasis, but there have to be 2 teachers to go to the bathroom every single time kids are going. So what?
It's going to be you a lot of times.
A lot of times it'll be the floater. So it'll usually be either Heather or myself or whoever's floating at the time. And that person will go with one of the teachers in the classroom, so there's still a teacher in the classroom. So that one person will be in the hallway, one teacher will be in the bathroom, and one of us will be holding the door open so we can still see the other classrooms as well. So it's just kind of being very aware of everything around us, and so there have to be 2. Please do not let them go by themselves.
Yeah. And it's difficult if you're in the middle of a lesson to go for the teacher to stop doing everything and go to the bathroom, and that's why the floater and the MOD are important. So you need to know where they are and get their attention so that you always go in twos. Very good point. So, yes, sir.
We need to change diapers and there's 2 guys. Who do we contact?
Whoever the floater is.
Either Heather or Stephanie. And you pretty much walk around, right, Stephanie? Like you're walking around a lot. You're not, but if you're not walking around, you're either sitting right there in church on the outside.
Yeah, I usually try. The thing is, if you ever don't know where I am, I'm usually sitting on the very outside edge of the. If I'm sitting, because I sit in service and second service. So I float during the first service. Heather floats during the second service.
Okay.
And so if you need me, I'm usually there during second service.
We want the MOD to get in church, so you might be sitting there. Okay. So. Let's see, they also, though, school-age children, although they know they need to be assisted, and so minimum amount of assistance, staff and volunteers should never take a lone child to the restroom. We reiterated that. Any assistance with straightening their garments and all should be done in the presence of another staff or volunteer. If a child is able to use the restroom without assistance, then the volunteer should escort them to the bathroom, wait outside the door with the door partially open. That's really important. So.
Yeah, I have a question about that. So elementary, we're upstairs. There's not a bathroom upstairs, is there? So that's saying that if Leon wants to go to the bathroom during the service,
They can go on their own. Elementary,
But this says school-age children. But the door has to be left open.
No, not for your class.
But the thing is, what you can do is you take the student down, and then you just hold the door. You'll just go into the bathroom. You'll hold that door open.
But I think this is that I'm not allowed to go into the bathroom.
That's what I'm saying. Hold that door open.
In the stall.
The first half, of the elementary kids, we stay upstairs.
Yeah.
And so I tell them, use the restroom now. When we go upstairs, I'm like, can I go? No.
Right.
They can't.
But so when we're using the restroom now, do they use the ones in that little area?
Yeah.
In the area.
And then for there, we still have to hold the door open?
Right. But I mean, if they're
Not to
hungry,
the stall, but to the bathroom door, you just might want to stand in the entrance.
Just like.
You just have to be able to hear. Really, it's just creating a way for you to be able to hear what's going on, so you know if like they fall or something happens, that you're right there to help them.
Yeah.
That's your
I was
job.
just thinking like a 5th grade girl, is she gonna want people listening to her use the restroom?
Well, they're not gonna be able to hear it. There's a stall door, like especially for the girls' bathroom. There's literally a stall, and there's a toilet behind that, and then the doors over here. You can't leave.
Okay.
And it's
Really,
also
your
for,
two biggest reasons are going to be Max and Lily.
Yeah. Okay.
frequent flyers. You also were there in that situation, not just for them, but there's others that might be using the restroom that we don't know, or, I mean, there's other reasons why you just sort of make yourself presence known for their protection. So discipline is, obviously, we're going to do the time out. We're not going to, spank or degrade or return biting with toddlers. That's hilarious because my sister's 5 years older and she did. I have a niece who's a biter and she bit back, and so I did that once with Jenna. She never bit me again. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to bite other people's children. No biting. So for elementary age children, communicate that they need to change their behavior. That what they're doing needs to be corrected. You might want to communicate with the parents. I only do that in more extreme cases because I want to make sure that the parents feel like their kid is welcome and that they don't feel like they're a failure because their child misbehaved. I mean, so just if you need to communicate with parents, do it sensitively so they don't feel like they can't come back and they don't worry about that. But if it's like hurting another child, that you do need to communicate that.
Can I
Yes.
share something?
Yes.
Before we actually moved to Denton and before we become members or anything, we were visiting C3, and at the time, both of my sons were elementary age, and Dustin was the teacher. And I don't know if it was just, for whatever reason, they kind of acted up a little bit, okay? And so after church, Dustin was releasing them, and he said to me, Joanne, yeah, they kind of had a, and he said it very polite and very kind, but the boys were like, yeah, we were. And so I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And so what did Dustin do? He grabbed my hand, he grabbed Joanne's hand, and he said, let's pray.
Oh.
And he prayed for us, he prayed over us and said, just help this family, blah, blah, blah. And I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Because usually at church you're like, just take me some love. It's like, oh gosh, I'm so embarrassed,
Yeah.
But instead I felt encouraged. And so
You felt encouraged.
it was just a really positive interaction.
And how great for the kids to see my parent and my Sunday school teacher are united in prayer for my good. And that's a great accountability system too. I really like that example. Thank you for sharing that because that's really encouraging. I like that. Okay. So what we want to do with toddlers in preschool is time out, and it's based on their age. And so if you don't have any children, you may not know that. But like a 3-year-old is 3 minutes is the maximum they should be separate. You really don't want to get them outside your room, just like off to the side, because you got to be able to watch them and all of that. And then what I think is important is exactly what Jesus did with Peter. It's one of my favorite things in the New Testament, and because Peter had just blown it big time, and when Jesus appeared, he went first to Peter and then to the 12. But to bring them back into your classroom in front of their peers in a positive way and say, we are so glad you're back, and then praise the good things that you see them do. And I mean, I'm like a grown person and I will work for stickers. I mean, still, if somebody's like, I'm going to give you a sticker, will you, babe? I hope I get a sticker when I'm done teaching this morning because I keep them. But no, but just positive reinforcement. I mean, just basic stuff. And then it's also helpful when they're in time out and they're sitting there to encourage them. You're doing a great job sitting. Thank you. It's been a whole minute and you've been sitting so good. And just let them know that what they're doing is good. Help them understand what they did that was wrong, because I don't know that that's always understood by the child. I mean, they're having fun and they're cutting up and everyone laughs, so what could be the problem? They don't always know. So let them know what the specific thing was. And you want them away from the group, but you don't want them to be alone, and you don't want to be alone with them in another location. So be verbally reassuring. We're going to go ahead and flip. I'm going to go through this page pretty quickly because gift giving is tricky because then, I'm sure the church doesn't want you spending a lot of your money, but also then all the other teachers don't give, and then if you give to one, you have to give to all, so we're just gonna avoid that. One-on-one interactions with the child. If you should conduct a one-on-one meeting with the individual child or student at a time when others are present, where interactions can be easily observed. So the theme of the morning is always be with someone. That's really what you need to remember. So if you feel the need to speak to them one-on-one, have someone with you. Let's see. We need to contact parents when if their student becomes ill or obviously gets injured or whatever. Text message to their cell phones or in person. I feel like C3 is still small enough that you can probably go out and make eye contact, or the MOD can go over and tap them on the shoulder. I don't actually know the cell phone numbers of the parents but some of you might, because everybody kind of knows everybody, so you might be able to do that. But I personally put my phone away at church and turn it off and don't even look at it. So I'm not sure that would work for.
Yeah, normally one of us can go get the parent. Yeah.
So on 13, we're going to kind of talk, there is one important thing I want to mention. Parents can stay to transition their child to the classroom, but after 10 minutes, they need to be encouraged to go to church. Because, what we're trying to do is we're trying to assure the child and the parent that everything is going to be okay. And so after about 10 minutes, encourage them to go. I have seen kids that are in a full-on fear, anxiety, cry attack, and be completely okay within minutes. I mean, so it happens relatively quickly, and I feel like, that we're giving 10 minutes, and that's a pretty good amount of time, and then encourage parents. You need to be filled, you need to be encouraged, you go to church. If we need you, we'll come get you. And so the separation anxiety is not just always the kid, sometimes it's the parent. I was always very, very sad that my kids, neither one of my girls ever had separation anxiety. I mean, I felt rejected. Like other people's kids were like, Mom, and mine are like, see ya. I thought, gee, you can act sad like once, but so mine didn't go through that, but I know that's really a normal thing. Physical contact, let's just be careful. Sign hugs, always in the presence. And they initiate it. So if they want to hug, well, by all means, that's what I love about kids, especially the young ones. I have one here at Calvary that is such a hugger. I will go find her like every day, because her hug just makes my day. So what we want to know on the next page is be very careful with what you say and what materials you're using. And on 17, that we don't come under the influence, which is like duh, we all know that, but we're going to say it. And if you plan to come nude to the church, you can't. It's in the manual. So if you were planning on 18, we cover nudity. It says staff and volunteers should never be nude in the presence of children or of students in their care. So that's why we gave you shirts, because we knew that was such a problem. We had to make shirts for you because, there's like crazy shows on TV now where I don't understand. 19, supervision. Let's just look very quickly at that. Look at your ratios. They're in italicized. C3 kids, we want to keep the leader to child ratio like 5 infants to 2 adults. I think we've always been able to do that.
Yeah.
8 toddlers to 2 adults. How are we doing with toddlers? Are we getting the numbers? Easter
was insane.
Yeah, Easter's really hard.
There were like 27,000 for years.
Yeah. And only 10 parents. So who could figure that out?
It's like me and Jennifer Bonner.
It's getting really hot again. You want to check? All right. So and then 2 adults to 12 preschoolers. So I think we're pretty good on that. Everyone at C3 is very positive. I've just been delighted to be a part and be a member of the church. But we want to be careful because there's different levels of sensitivity. And so I've noticed this, that some kids you can kind of tease, especially older, and be somewhat sarcastic and they think it's funny, and another kid will be deeply wounded by it. So we just want to be careful how we speak, and I don't think you can ever over-encourage or be too sensitive with toddlers. I mean, they just need all the encouragement and the stuff they can get. I wanted to say one thing about security, and then I'm done. intentional, aware of the environment. Know where the exits are. Notice when there's plugs that don't have an insert. Notice these things. There's ways to get out of that area. There's a door that goes to the outside. So if there was ever anything and we needed to leave quickly, there is a door in our area where you can get out. The other thing is if there was a weather problem or anything like that and you needed to protect their heads, we've got lots of Bibles at church. Have them hold a book over their head to protect that. I saw when we had so much crazy weather, somebody posted that they had their kids in the bathtub and they put bike helmets on. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's like really smart. But get something, heavy and have them kind of crouch down, things like that. There's many places that you could go off to the side and be not so conspicuous if there was something going on and that somebody came in, like if the MOD says take cover, the idea about tornadoes is tricky because of windows, and there's lots of windows in there, so probably the best place to go would be the bathrooms, just to put them all in those bathrooms back there because there's no windows. So just things like that. Just be aware of what the weather is that day. We're going to come in and help you with that, but just if I needed to gather the kids and then not be in the sight of, like if we had an intruder, look for where that would be, where if somebody came in, they wouldn't see you first thing. So just be aware of your surroundings and always be thinking safety and security, because it's a crazy world that we live in, and so I have to drill, and we probably will do some drills at some point, but you can never be too prepared. So thank you for being so attentive and making eye contact and doing thumbs up. I really appreciate you all. And I'm done with the procedures. And so Heather's going to talk about curriculum, and then we're going to be done. I think I got it 5 minutes over. Sorry, 7 minutes over.